Want an always-on personal agent that's working on what you need when you need it? You're gonna get just that with Gemini Spark. Hey friends, I'm Tasia Custode, and this is your complete Gemini Spark tutorial. And we know that Google loves a naming convention, so maybe we should start at the beginning and learn what is Gemini Spark. Gemini Spark is Google's 24/7 personal AI agent designed to proactively manage tasks across your digital life. So unlike traditional reactive chatbots, Spark runs autonomously in the background for you to handle multi-step workflows, automate schedules, and basically triage information that you need. Spark can take action on your behalf, under your direction, of course, and it can monitor things that matter to you while handling complex tasks proactively, and then, of course, learning your preferences over time. So in this video, you'll learn how to use Gemini Spark, and we'll go over some helpful use cases at the end as well. You ready? Let's go. From your Gemini account at gemini.google.com, if you're a Google AI Ultra subscriber, you may see a Spark option in your left-hand panel. It's a toggle option there. If you expand your menu panel, you'll see the new Spark toggle up at the top. Either way, clicking on Spark will bring you to your Spark workspace. It really is that simple to access. Now, our left-hand menu has changed as well once we're in Spark. We've got tasks, schedules, and skills. You're gonna use tasks if you want Spark to, well, complete tasks for you by connecting across your connected Google Workspace suite of apps, like Google Docs, Gmail, GCal, Sheets, Slides, etc. Schedules allow you to automate those tasks on your own terms. So these could be things like time-based schedules, or they could be conditionally based. And you can think of skills as your personal how-to guides. You're gonna teach Gemini a workflow once, and then it'll reuse it anytime without you having to retype prompts time and time again. Something you probably want to do before diving fully into Gemini Spark is to head to your settings in the bottom left and click on Personal Intelligence. Here, ensure memory is toggled on, since that's going to help Gemini learn from your past chats. And then in the Connected Apps area, if you haven't toggled on your Google Workspace suite of apps, you may want to do that here. So let's jump in and create a task with Gemini Spark. Remember, you've got to toggle on Spark to access it. And here, let's click on Task to create a task together. And your task can be as simple or as complex as you'd like. So for this, I'm going to say, find all the emails I've received with relevant information on our upcoming trip to Santa Barbara and Solvang and the wine tasting there. I want to know if any emails still need a response or if anything needs to be added to my calendar. If something needs a reply, please draft one for me. Also add all important reservations, including our flight info in and out of Santa Barbara, all hotel information you find, and add it to a new Google Doc called Santa Barbara 2026. Quite a lot I'm asking from Spark. So hit enter on your task, or you can click on submit. And here you can watch Spark work. So you can see what it's actually working on, where it's pulling the information from, and each step that it's taking along the way. And this can take anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes, depending on how detailed of a task you've asked for. You can leave the page and go about your business and go back to it when it's ready, and you will receive a notification when it's ready. But here we can see that it's done exactly as asked. So first, here's all the emails and responses I've asked for. Nothing's outstanding, so nothing needs a response, so that's great. It's letting me know all of my reservations are indeed already on my Google Calendar. Jumping to the itinerary section, it's giving me a summary of my flights, my accommodations, including the cost for everything, the confirmation codes, the addresses, and the receipts. And then here at the bottom, it's got that wine tasting info I asked for as well. But remember, I asked Spark to go ahead and create a new Google Doc too. So sure enough, Spark created a new Google Doc for me titled exactly what I asked, Santa Barbara 2026. Thank you, Agent Spark. Now this is really great because I can share this now with our friends and everyone can be on the same page. Back in Gemini Spark, just like we do with chats, you can rename a task at any time by clicking the three-dot menu icon. You can pin the task from here too, or delete the task. You can create a new task at any time by clicking Create New Task, or you could do so as well heading to the task section in that left sidebar. But let's carry on our example and create a skill based on this particular task. Remember, skills are a reusable set of instructions, so you don't have to continually manually ask for the same thing over and over again. There are a few ways you can create skills. You can click on a skill in the left-hand menu, and here you can click to create with Gemini. This is gonna open up a new skill window where you can literally prompt Gemini for any skill that you want. And you're gonna get some inspiration info here too. Now let me just click skill again in the left. And from here, you could also create a skill manually. So here you would title the skill, you'd give it a description and the specific instructions you would like Gemini to follow. Or back in that skill section again, you can explore the recommended skills to get started. But I think one of the easiest ways to create a skill is to simply ask Gemini Spark to do it for us. So heading back into that task we just created earlier, let's use the prompt bar and simply ask Gemini Spark. Now turn this into a skill that will run every time I ask you for Santa Barbara trip info. There you go. In a matter of seconds, it's created a skill called Santa Barbara trip info. And I can click in here to see more information, to see those instructions, the summary, and when it's going to use the skill on my behalf. So if we click on skills in that left-hand menu, we can now see our active skill we just created for the Santa Barbara trip info. Cooler yet, if we click into it, we can edit any of the details right here. But anytime I want to actually run this particular skill, I can do that either from the tasks section, or I can go right into that earlier task I created and use the prompt bar in the chat. Or I can type in my skill up here where it says create task. Either way, to run the skill, you can type the @ symbol to pull it up, or you can type / and select the skill. All your skills will show here. For this, I'm not even gonna add any other directions. I'm simply gonna submit this skill and then let Spark get to work. Now, obviously in real life, I wouldn't have Gemini Spark create a doc every single time for this skill, but you get the idea here. Because now at any time, I can actually have it update my existing doc. So I don't even have to actually use or refer to that skill name. We can just ask for what we want in our chat. Here's what I mean. So I've come back into my original task that I had Spark run. It's the same chat where I asked for that skill, but I'm simply gonna ask Spark to check my emails for any trip updates and then add those to the existing doc. So I've sped this up a little bit here, but this is exactly what Spark did. Literally what I asked for. If I click on the doc, I can go bang right to the bottom here and see that it did indeed add dining reservations that it found in a newer email to this original doc. Love it. Now, what if I want Spark to do this automatically? Meaning, so it's going to look for trip updates on my behalf and then automatically add them to that same doc for me. Well, we can create a schedule for that. And again, there are multiple ways to do this, but the important thing is to remember that schedules are a way to automate tasks on our behalf, and they can be time-based or they can be conditional-based. You can head to the schedules section from your left-hand menu, and here, just like we saw with skills, we can create with Gemini or we can create manually. But for this example, I'm gonna head back to our initial chat once again that we created at the top. And I'm simply going to ask Gemini Spark, run this check for new Santa Barbara trip info on a schedule at 7 p.m. every night until the trip completion. And this took about 20 seconds for me in real time, but check it out. Gemini Spark has created a daily schedule to run automatically for me, and it's going to add any updated details to my master doc and then notify me of any of the changes. Wow. And then scrolling down, we can see the details of when it's going to run and those steps that it's going to take. Can you believe it takes a few seconds to set something up once, and then just like that, Gemini Spark is working on your behalf in the background 24/7 for you while you go about your day. Yes, please. This is, at its core, the agent working on your behalf. So Spark isn't just a chatbot where you're going to have conversations, it's actually getting the work done for you. And by the way, you don't have to run a task, a skill, and a schedule simultaneously, all connected all at the same time. You can run them cohesively, like we just saw in one example, or you can run them separately of each other, whatever works for you. So let's quickly take a look at a couple of other use cases to get your creative juices flowing a little bit more. So as an example of a schedule we could create, let's have Spark help us with receipts and invoicing. I'm simply going to say, Whenever I receive an email with a receipt or invoice, extract the vendor name and the total amount and log them into a monthly expenses Google Sheet. I'll also have Spark update that sheet every time I receive a receipt or invoice. And just like that, Spark has created an expenses sheet for me as asked, and it's included the automation details as well. And because we also asked it to run on a schedule for us, we can actually go into the schedules in the left-hand menu, click right here into our log receipt expenses schedule that Spark just created. So think of all the ways you can use Gemini Spark. Is it trip planning? Is it invoice organization? Is it managing your inbox in whatever manner you want? Do you want Gemini Spark to create a style guide for you? Maybe you want a daily briefing of all the things you have going on and what you need to do in a day. Literally whatever you want. Maybe it's meeting prep. Just ask Gemini Spark for what you want. And as I mentioned earlier, at least for now, Gemini Spark is available in the US to Google AI Ultra subscribers. It's in beta still, and it will roll out more globally soon, as Google likes to say. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think of Gemini Spark? Let everyone know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, well, I want to know. So give it a like, a share, or you can leave that comment below. You can click right about here to subscribe to my channel, and look at that, here and here for even more Gemini goodness. You know you wanna. Thanks for watching. See you next time.